The deception of weakness. The grand chamber of the Galactic Alliance sparkled with the light of 1,000 crystalline chandeliers, each representing one of the member worlds that comprised the most powerful coalition in the known universe. Dignitaries from across 20 galaxies lounged on gravity-cushioned seats, their varied anatomies accommodated by technology so advanced it bordered on magic. High Chancellor Krelvox, an imposing figure with iridescent scales and 6 piercing eyes, raised a clawed hand for silence. The chamber, moments ago filled with the melodious cacophony of 100 different species communicating, fell quiet. "We gather today," Krelvox's voice resonated through the chamber, "to discuss the matter of Earth." A wave of dismissive chuckles rippled through the assembly. Earth, the backward world of bipedal mammals, who had barely managed to establish a single lunar outpost. A cosmic footnote. An evolutionary curiosity at best. Our resource projections indicate that the third planet of the Sol system contains significant deposits of rare minerals crucial for hyperspace conduit maintenance, continued the Chancellor. The inhabitants have shown no interest in trade agreements despite multiple overtures. Admiral Gentar of the Alliance Fleet, a being of living mercury contained in a humanoid exoskeleton, shifted uncomfortably. "Chancellor, if I may speak freely." Krelvox gestured permission with a lazy flick of his wrist. "Something about Earth troubles me." The Admiral's voice flowed like liquid silver. "We have monitored their communications, observed their primitive spacecraft, assessed their weapons capabilities. All suggest a pre-galactic civilization, barely able to defend their own atmosphere. Yet what, Admiral?" prompted Krelvox, a hint of impatience in his tone. "They show no fear. Every species, upon first contact with our alliance, has responded with either terror or awe. The humans do neither. They acknowledge our existence and then continue as if we are irrelevant." Ambassador Drell of the Proxima Centauri Coalition laughed, his tentacles writhing in amusement. "Perhaps they are simply too primitive to comprehend our power. My analysts suggest their global military might could be neutralized by a single Alliance battlecruiser." The chamber erupted in laughter once more. Admiral Gentar remained silent, the mercury of his form swirling in patterns that indicated deep concern. "Enough discussion," Chancellor Krelvox declared. "The Alliance requires Earth's resources. Their technological level doesn't warrant formal induction into our coalition. We will annex their world, provide appropriate compensation by our standards, and relocate any resistant populations to habitat spheres where they can continue their existence comfortably." The vote was nearly unanimous, with only Admiral Gentar abstaining. The decision was made. Earth would be brought into the Alliance, willing or not. 3 standard cycles later, the Alliance Armada emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. 500 warships, each capable of sterilizing a planetary surface, arranged in perfect formation. At their center, the colossal dreadnought Eternal Dominion housed Admiral Gentar and the Annexation Command Team. "Broadcast the ultimatum on all Earth frequencies," ordered the Admiral, his mercury form agitated within the confines of his exoskeleton. The communications officer, a reptilian Scarian with translucent scales, nodded. "Transmission sent, Admiral. Standard diplomatic package including Alliance protocols, compensation terms, and relocation options for their population." Silence followed. The bridge crew waited expectantly for the panicked responses that inevitably came when a primitive world faced the overwhelming might of the Alliance. But Earth's communications channels remained eerily quiet. "No response, Admiral," reported the officer after a standard time unit passed. "Scan for defense preparations, military mobilizations, weapons activations, anything." The tactical officer, a multi-eyed arachnoid, clicked her mandibles anxiously. "Nothing, Admiral. Their military forces remain in standard posture. No observable changes in deployment or alert status." Gentar's mercury form swirled violently. "This is unprecedented. Send the ultimatum again, with escalation warnings." Again, Earth made no response. The Chancellor's holographic form materialized on the bridge. "Admiral, why have you not commenced the annexation sequence?" "Chancellor, Earth has not acknowledged our presence. Is their communication technology so primitive they cannot receive our transmissions?" Krelvox asked incredulously. "No, Chancellor. They can receive us. They simply choose not to respond." Krelvox's scales darkened with anger. "This insolence will not stand. Proceed with demonstration strike. Target one of their smaller population centers. Show them the consequences of ignoring the alliance." Admiral Gentar hesitated, but orders were orders. Target locked on population center designated Auckland, preparing kinetic strike package. The weapons officer initiated the firing sequence. From the belly of the Eternal Dominion, a titanium rod accelerated to near-relativistic speeds, its trajectory perfectly calculated to impact the Earth city with enough force to create a seismic event visible from orbit. The bridge crew watched silently as the weapon streaked toward the blue-green planet. Impact was instantaneous. A flash of light, a shock wave rippling across the landscape, and then a rising cloud of dust and debris. "Auckland has been neutralized, Admiral," reported the tactical officer. "Estimated casualties, 300,000 humans." Gentar's form rippled with discomfort. "Monitor Earth's military responses. They must react now." Minutes passed, then hours. Earth's military forces remained stationary. No retaliatory strikes were attempted. No mass mobilizations occurred. Even the global communication patterns showed minimal disruption, as if the destruction of a major city was barely worthy of notice. "This makes no sense," Gentar muttered. "No species simply ignores the destruction of their own kind." Chancellor Krelvox's hologram reappeared, his patience clearly exhausted. "Admiral, this charade has gone on long enough. Commence full annexation procedures. Deploy ground forces to secure their major governmental centers." As the invasion fleet prepared for atmospheric entry, something peculiar happened. First, it was just a flicker in the navigation systems, star charts momentarily displaying incorrect configurations. Then communications experienced microsecond delays. Weapon targeting arrays lost calibration and had to be reset. "Admiral," the ship's systems operator called out, her voice tinged with confusion, "we're experiencing cascade failures across multiple ships. Nothing critical yet, but the pattern is strange." "Strange how?" demanded Gentar. "The failures aren't random. They're systematic, progressive, as if—" She paused, antennae twitching nervously, "as if something is learning our systems one by one." A cold sensation spread through Gentar's mercury body. "Pull back the invasion force. Maintain orbital position." "Sir," questioned the operations commander. "Do it now." Gentar's voice carried an edge none of his crew had ever heard before. As the invasion shuttles reversed course, the tactical officer suddenly shouted, "Energy spike! Massive energy spike from Earth's surface." The view screen shifted to show an impossible sight. All across Earth's surface, what had appeared to be ordinary terrain, oceans, mountains, deserts, and forests, began to move. Vast sections of landscape split open, revealing massive hidden installations beneath. From these openings, warships emerged, thousands upon thousands of them, rising into the atmosphere. "Impossible," breathed the Chancellor's hologram. "Our intelligence indicated no such capabilities." The Earth ships were unlike anything the Alliance had ever encountered, sleek, dark vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. No visible propulsion systems, no external weapons arrays, simply perfect matte black hulls that defied conventional scanning technology. "Admiral," the communications officer's voice trembled, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth." The view screen shifted again. A single human stood there, unremarkable by most standards, with no obvious cybernetic enhancements or genetic modifications visible. When the human spoke, its voice was calm, almost conversational. This is Admiral Helena Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You have committed an act of war against humanity by attacking Auckland. We have monitored your discussions, your plans, your dismissal of our species. We allowed this because it was tactically advantageous for you to underestimate us. Admiral Gentar forced his Mercury form into a semblance of composure. Admiral Chen, there appears to be a severe misunderstanding. The Alliance. There is no misunderstanding, Chen interrupted. For 3 centuries, humanity has observed your Alliance consuming world after world, stripping resources, relegating native species to controlled habitats. We've intercepted your transmissions, studied your technology, and prepared accordingly. As she spoke, the Earth fleet continued to emerge. 5,000 ships, then 50,000, then 500,000. A force that dwarfed the Alliance Armada by orders of magnitude. How? Chancellor Krulvox's hologram flickered as his composure faltered. How could you hide such a force from our surveys? Admiral Chen smiled, but the expression contained no warmth. Chancellor, did it never occur to you that a species might choose to appear primitive? That we might deliberately limit our visible technology while developing in secret? Earth has never been defenseless. We've simply been patient. With that declaration, the Earth fleet moved with impossible synchronization, surrounding the Alliance Armada in a perfect sphere of black ships. You have one opportunity, Chen continued. Withdraw your forces from the Sol system, return to your alliance, and inform them that Earth and all its colonies are sovereign territory, not open for annexation or negotiation. Before Gentar could respond, hundreds of Alliance ships suddenly lost power, their lights blinking out as they drifted helplessly in space. That was a demonstration, said Chen, her voice still unnervingly calm. The next action will not be so gentle. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the Eternal Dominion in stunned silence as they stared at the armada of Earth vessels that had appeared from nowhere, ready to rewrite the balance of power throughout the known universe. The architects of doom. Admiral Gentar's Mercury form swirled chaotically within his exoskeleton as he processed the impossible reality before him. Half the Alliance fleet, 250 of the most advanced warships in known space, now drifted powerless, their crews trapped inside vessels that had transformed from military marvels to metal coffins in an instant. How? Demanded Chancellor Krulvox, his holographic form blazing with fury. How could our intelligence fail so catastrophically? It didn't fail, Chancellor, Gentar replied softly. We were deliberately missiled. The humans wanted us to believe they were primitive. The tactical officer's voice interrupted, pitched high with panic. Admiral, the Earth vessels are moving to surround our remaining operational ships. Evasive maneuvers, ordered Gentar. Prepare for emergency hyperspace jump. Sir, hyperspace engines are not responding. Something is interfering with the activation sequence. On the view screen, the Black Earth ships moved with uncanny precision, each vessel seeming to anticipate the Alliance ship's movements before they occurred. There was no wasted motion, no standard battle formations. It was like watching a single organism with 500,000 parts moving in perfect harmony. Admiral Chen is hailing us again, reported the communications officer. The human's face appeared once more on the view screen, her expression still unnervingly calm. Admiral Gentar, I'm disappointed. I offered you the opportunity to withdraw peacefully. Our hyperspace engines have been disabled, Gentar replied, struggling to maintain diplomatic composure. We cannot withdraw. A precautionary measure, Chen nodded. Your alliance has a history of pretending to retreat only to return with greater numbers. Chancellor Krulvox pushed forward, his hologram dominating the communication feed. Listen well, human. The alliance spans 20 galaxies. The force you face is merely a fraction of our military capability. If you do not stand down. If I do not stand down, Chen interrupted, you will do what exactly? Send more ships for us to disable. The Alliance's technology is impressive, Chancellor, but it's based on principles humanity transcended a century ago. As if to illustrate her point, more Alliance vessels suddenly went dark, their systems shutting down one after another. "What are you doing to our ships?" demanded Gentar. "Quantum entanglement disruption," Chen replied matter-of-factly. "Your vessels rely on quantum processors for basic functions. We're simply altering the entanglement patterns of your primary systems. Non-lethal, completely reversible, and utterly beyond your ability to counter." Gentar's tactical training took over as he analyzed the situation. The Alliance was facing an enemy with vastly superior technology, overwhelming numbers, and the strategic advantage of having studied their capabilities in secret for centuries. There was only one logical course of action. "Chancellor," he said, turning to Krulvox's hologram, "I am invoking Emergency Protocol Omega. As Fleet Admiral, I hereby surrender the Armada to prevent further loss of life." The Chancellor's 6 eyes widened in shock. "You cannot." "I can, and I have," Gentar interrupted. "The Articles of Fleet Command are clear. In a no-win scenario, the Admiral may surrender to preserve Alliance lives." Krulvox's hologram flickered violently as the Chancellor struggled to control his rage. "This is not over, Admiral. The Council will." The hologram disappeared mid-sentence as the communication was severed. Turning back to the view screen, Gentar addressed Admiral Chen. "I have surrendered the Alliance Armada. I request humane treatment for my crew and the personnel of all Alliance vessels." Chen nodded. "Granted. Prepare to receive boarding parties. You will be treated according to Earth's Geneva Conventions on prisoners of war, far more humane than what your Alliance offers to conquered species." Within hours, Alliance personnel from hundreds of ships had been transferred to massive Earth vessels that seemed to function as both battleships and troop carriers. Admiral Gentar, as the highest-ranking officer, was brought aboard Earth's flagship, a colossal black vessel that dwarfed even the Eternal Dominion. He was escorted to what appeared to be a command center, though unlike any he had seen before. There were no visible control interfaces, no screens, no tactical displays, only a circular room where officers stood in seemingly random positions, their eyes unfocused as if looking at something beyond physical reality. In the center stood Admiral Chen, who turned to greet him as he entered. "Admiral Gentar, welcome aboard the terrestrial defense vessel Prometheus." "Your technology," Gentar said, his mercury form pulsing with a mixture of fear and awe. "It's unlike anything in our records." "That was by design," Chen replied. "Earth unified 3 centuries ago after our first passive detection of Alliance communications. We realized then what humanity faced, a galactic power that viewed less advanced species as resources to be harvested rather than equals to be welcomed." "So you hid your advancement," Gentar concluded. "But why maintain the charade for so long? You could have joined the Alliance as equals with your level of technology." Chen laughed, a sound devoid of humor. "Join as equals? The Alliance has no equals, only hierarchies of exploitation. We've intercepted enough of your secure communications to understand the truth. Even the most advanced Alliance member worlds are stripped of autonomy, their resources channeled to support the original founding species." She gestured, and the air around them shifted. Suddenly, Gentar found himself surrounded by holographic displays showing hundreds of worlds, Alliance worlds, their ecosystems degrading, their native populations corralled into smaller and smaller habitable zones as Alliance mining operations expanded. "This is your civilization, Admiral. A parasite that consumes everything it touches while convincing itself it brings order and progress." Gentar's mercury form contracted in shame. These were truths known to high-ranking Alliance officials, but rarely acknowledged openly. "What happens now? Will Earth launch a counter-invasion of Alliance space?" "No," Chen said firmly. "Humanity has no interest in conquest. We developed our military capabilities for one purpose only: to ensure that what happened to other species would never happen to us." She waved her hand, and the holographic displays changed to show the disabled Alliance fleet, now being systematically towed by Earth vessels toward an enormous space station that had somehow remained hidden from Alliance sensors. Your ships will be studied, their crews returned to Alliance space with a message. Earth and the Sol system are forever sovereign territory. Any future incursion will be met with the complete technological shutdown of the offending civilization. Complete shutdown? Gentar questioned. We've developed weapons that can disable technology across entire star systems. Admiral. Non-lethal but utterly paralyzing to any advanced civilization. We hope never to use them. Gentar's form rippled with disbelief. The Alliance Council will never accept such terms. They'll return with fleets from all 20 galaxies. Admiral Chen smiled sadly. That's what your Chancellor also believed. While we've been talking, specialized Earth vessels have been deploying quantum disruption buoys at key hyperspace junctions throughout Alliance space. Right now, every major military installation in your territory is experiencing mysterious technological failures. A new hologram appeared, showing Alliance capital worlds where cities had gone dark, ships hung motionless in orbit, and defense systems failed catastrophically. This is a demonstration, Admiral. A fraction of our capability, applied with surgical precision. Within 24 hours, all systems will return to normal, but the message will be clear. Humanity cannot be conquered because humanity has the ability to reduce any technological civilization to pre-industrial status without firing a single lethal shot. For the first time in his long career, Admiral Gentar felt genuine fear, not for himself, but for the alliance that had stood unchallenged for millennia. You've been preparing for this moment for centuries. Yes, Chen acknowledged. While your council laughed at our primitive rockets and rudimentary space stations, we were building this fleet in secret facilities throughout our solar system. While your intelligence services dismissed us as barely worth monitoring, we were developing quantum technologies your scientists haven't even theorized yet. She stepped closer to the Mercury Admiral. Humanity learned something vital early in our development. Admiral, the appearance of weakness can be the greatest strength. By seeming primitive, we gain time. Time to prepare, time to advance, time to ensure that when first contact inevitably became first conflict, we would prevail. 2 human officers approach, ready to escort Gentar back to the detention area. You'll be returned to Alliance space along with your crew within a standard week, Chen explained. When you report to your council, make one thing abundantly clear. Earth does not want war. We do not want conquest. We want only to be left alone. But if forced to defend ourselves again, the consequences will be permanent rather than temporary. As Gentar was led away, he glanced back at Admiral Chen, who had already turned her attention to the ongoing operation, directing the most overwhelming military force he had ever witnessed with quiet efficiency. In that moment, he understood the true nature of the species the Alliance had so gravely underestimated. Humans weren't just technologically superior. They were strategically patient in a way no Alliance species had ever demonstrated. They had watched, waited, and prepared for centuries, all while presenting a facade of primitive weakness. 1 week later, as promised, Admiral Gentar stood before the Galactic Alliance Council, his Mercury form still and composed as he delivered Earth's message. The chamber, usually filled with the confident chatter of the galaxy's most powerful beings, was deathly quiet. This is humanity's only warning, he concluded. They ask to be left in peace, to develop on their own terms. They have demonstrated both the capability and the willingness to disable our civilization should we force their hand again. High Chancellor Krulvox, his scales dull with stress, leaned forward. And you believe these humans will honor such an arrangement, that they won't use this technology to conquer us in turn? Admiral Gentar's Mercury form shimmered as he considered the question. Chancellor, in all my years of service, I have encountered many species with the desire for conquest. Humanity is different. They don't want our worlds or our resources. They simply want assurance that they can exist without being exploited. He paused, then added, They could have destroyed us utterly, but chose not to. That alone tells us more about their character than any intelligence report ever could. As the Council debated their response to this new galactic reality, Gentar reflected on the lesson humanity had taught the Alliance. Sometimes, the most dangerous opponent isn't the one who threatens loudly, but the one who waits silently, watching and preparing for the moment when patience gives way to righteous action. In the vastness of space surrounding the Sol system, Earth's black ships resumed their hidden positions, their advanced stealth technology once again concealing their presence from prying eyes. To casual observation, Earth remained what it had always appeared to be, a somewhat primitive world of limited technology, barely worthy of galactic notice. And that was exactly how humanity preferred it.